Welcome to another edition of Onside SA, and it's soccer. It's right in the middle of what's going on. The Scottish League starts next week, and we've got the Community Shield coming up, but we're in a little bit of a limbo, but maybe Stevie B, the national pundit, can tell us more about the market.
He's fortunate, Paul, that he's got the Gold Cup he can watch. So the Olympics is on, but the times are terrible to watch the games, it's not really hasn't been the best for me,
But he can keep us up to date Premiership news.
Especially Premiership, Paul. Charity Shield next Saturday.
Yep. Steve, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. Is it the Charity Shield or the Community Shield?
Yeah, it's called the Community Shield now. But we know it as the Charity Shield.
Yeah.
And that's next, not this weekend, next weekend on the Saturday.
Well, Man City normally give the Charity Shield away, so that's why maybe they've changed it to Community Shield. Steve, as far as the latest news, Man United, the Varane deal over the line?
Yeah, not quite, but it's subject to. It says it's still subject to medical and personal terms.
Yeah.
So I suspect that they'll probably do a deal. And they've done a deal with Madrid. So you can see him lining up now with Harry Maguire. We've been talking for a long time about the strength of the defence, and he's a quality player.
Yeah. Paul Pogba, is he still there? Is he on his way out? What's his agent got to say?
Yeah, the optics coming out of United is that he won't sign a new contract. So if that's the case, what do they do? Keep him for a year and have him just bide his time and go for nothing, or do they cash in and try and get? They're talking about maybe up to 45 million from PSG.
Yeah.
If he point blank won't sign a new contract again, what's the point of keeping him? Because his heart won't be in it. And they might as well recoup some money and use that to bring somebody else in.
Yeah, the moment he starts £350,000 a week, £7 million in our terms a week, and he's humming and hawing. Time to move him on. Ben White, Arsenal fans will be happy with him. Steve?
I think so, yeah. It's a lot of money. It hasn't quite been, again, another one hasn't quite been signed, sealed and delivered. But I think 50 means a lot. He's obviously a fringe player in the England squad. Leeds rated him highly, so well at Brighton.
Yeah.
Arsenal certainly do need to shore up the defence, and he can play anywhere, at the back, and he's even played in midfield. So, no, I think it's a good young player, and it's the sort of player that Arsenal need.
Yeah, another English centre-half that can maybe dominate for them. Now, we've got to get Paul interested in the show. Brian Gill. Was it a swap plus cash, Steve, or was it a swap? Do you know?
They haven't really said. The trouble with some of these deals, they just say undisclosed.
Yeah.
So I suspect it was probably a swap plus a bit of cash. I think he probably rated a bit higher than value than Manila. But no, look, I think Tottenham definitely want to shake it up a little bit. We don't see a lot of him, so it'll be interesting to see how well he does.
Yeah. The latest on Harry Kane, Paul.
No news at the moment. I think it's a matter of a big club coming saying, here's the money. And Levy says he's going nowhere. Nuno says he's going nowhere. Well, I've heard nothing from Harry. They played again. They played MK Dons. They won 3-1 this week with Son doing very well, Mura doing very well, Ali doing well. I looked at the players' ratings, but his international boys haven't come back into the fold, so we don't know, but I'm really guessing.
Yeah, I think a lot of clubs are like that. Now, this is the next player that was with you last year, Joachim Andersen. I'm surprised one of the better clubs never went for him, with all due respect to Crystal Palace.
They were looking at him, one or two others. He's quite happy. Evidently, he loved being in London, so, coming to Crystal Palace, it's not that difficult for him. In fact, it's interesting because when we went down last, back in 2014, England went to Crystal Palace. We went down this year and they picked up Anderson. They needed to bring a bit of youth into their defence, Palace. So it's a good move to them.
How good is he, Steve? I want to ask you, how good a player is he?
He's good on the ball. He's got. He always seems to have a little bit of time. He did get caught out a bit, but he was the pick of our defenders. So, I think he'll acquit himself well.
Okay. Steve, Chelsea have been a bit quiet, or so the newspaper. I know they've offloaded a few youngsters.
Yeah, to be honest, most of them have been quiet. What I've seen, I was looking at it last night, all the big clubs have released lots of players.
Yeah.
So they're clearing their books ready to bring a few in. But, Chelsea, the only player Chelsea have brought in is a free transfer. They picked up Marcus Bettinelli as their third close keeper.
Yeah, the keeper from
You know, so he won't get to play more than a couple of Carabao Cup games. But you know, I think Chelsea keeping their powder dry. I'm sure they will look to bring in a marquee signing because you know, the rumour is that they're happy to release one or two more.
Liverpool have been quiet too. I see there's seems to be a problem with Henderson's contract.
I haven't really seen that. I think, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, he's not young, and I don't know whether or not he wants a longer contract than they're prepared to offer. But you know, again, they haven't done much business themselves. So I think there should be a lot of activity, but you can see some of this happening all after the season starts, the transfer window ends, which is a bit disruptive. But at the moment, you know, probably, you know, compared to some years, there's been, you know, so little activity. You know,
I think once they come back,
a number of
I think this time next week, Steve, we'll see a couple of moves.
Yeah, I think so. I think clubs desperately want to get their squad in place for when the season starts, because, you know, if they're 3 or 4 matches in and they, you know, not picked up points, you know, especially if you're adrift with City or Liverpool or something by those many points, you know, I think you're in trouble already. So I think you're right. I think I'd expect to see signings in the next week or so.
Steve, I didn't send you the list yesterday, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's just had his contract extended and improved. He's on 10 million a year, which works out on average 200 grand a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sizable contract. I mean, it puts him on a par with the majority of the players in the team. They obviously rate him very, very highly. You know, goodness knows, you think what he was earning before he came to United, it was a absolute fraction of that. So, huge contract. You know.
Yeah. The reason I say that he's tied with Brendan Rodgers, who's also on 10 million. Bielsa's on 8. Jurgen Klopp is on 15 million a year, which is, say, averages 300,000. How much do you think Pep Guardiola's on a week?
I don't know, but I would have thought probably, you know, as much, if not more, than any of them.
Yeah, he's on 20 million pounds a year.
Yeah. Good man.
400,000 a week.
Look at, I know, it's incredible, but then you look at his quality.
Yeah, top notch.
And, you know,
Just while we're talking about Pep, Steve, has he bought anybody?
Sorry?
Who?
Yep, City haven't bought anybody yet.
No, that's right.
I think he's waiting for a big one. He's the Grealish and Kane. Those are the 2 big ones, I think, or according to the newspaper.
I think that, you know, I think they're biding their time. They're both, like Jack Grealish is still on holiday. You know, pictures of him in the paper.
Yeah.
You know, you think that they're going to get them back soon and getting training again, ready for the new season.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, it doesn't look as if wherever they are, they're not probably going to start in the first match.
Yes. All right. Steve, you've been watching the Gold Cup, or you've obviously seen highlights. You know, you called most of it live last week. There's 2 games, or the semi-finals have both been played on Friday, our time anyway. The first game up is the Qataris against the host USA. How do you see that going? Yeah,
I mean, I thought that Qatar played, I thought the highlights played very well. I mean, 3 up in their quarter-final. El Salvador got a couple back late, but you know they look good value. But I think the USA are going to be too strong.
Yeah.
You know, they've just got a decent squad now. Good young players coming through, and I think they'll be too strong.
Yeah, I see Qatar were 3-0 up against El Salvador, and they nearly got pegged back. Now, the next game, you never know with the Mexicans. Reports from the ESPN side that I go, the guys were saying they haven't really been that impressive, even though they beat Honduras, who had several injuries. Canada upset your Costa Rica side last week. Another upset?
Well, I was very surprised in Canada beating Costa Rica.
Yeah.
That was, I didn't think a lot of people saw that coming, and they did well. I would be surprised. I mean, Mexico, again, they laboured a little bit, but again, having watched the highlights, I mean, 3-0, it was pretty comfortable. They didn't really have to get out of second gear much.
Yeah.
Again, I would be very surprised if we're not going to see another Mexico-USA final.
Yeah, totally agree. Steve, the Scottish Premiership kicks off this weekend. You know, Glasgow Rangers, who beat Real Madrid in a friendly last weekend, they host Livingston. Should they be too good?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you can never talk too much to these trainers because Madrid have literally just come back to training, and Rangers have been training a couple of weeks. But it was, good morale booster, and I would think Rangers are very clear odds on favourites to win that one comfortably.
Yeah. Dundee were promoted last year. They host St Mirren, who've won all their 4 League Cup games so far. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a close game. I think Dundee did well when they came up.
Yeah.
I think that's
Draw.
possibly a draw even away in there. St Mirren have got to start as well.
Yeah, always difficult when teams get promoted via the playoffs. Now, Ross County, who we had on TV the other day on ESPN, they've won 2 and lost 2 of their 4 League Cup games. They host a St Johnson team who won the Scottish Cup. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think St John's, they're a very unfancied team. I mean, with, a team without any stars at all, but they, very creditable performance and the way they finished last year. I wouldn't be so surprised if St Johnstone win that.
Yeah,
So it says, Steve, question for you. Where do Ross County play out of? Hello, Steve?
I don't know the name. I don't know the name of their ground.
Me too. I don't know what part of the country they're in.
Yeah, I wish our mate Garth Whitehead was here. He worked near Ross County, so he could educate us.
Yeah, he could educate us. I don't know them.
Yeah. Steve, Celtic, disappointing last night. Got knocked out of the Champions League by Midtjylland. You see them rebounding?
I mean, I think that they've had a really poor pre-season, and that was a shocker for them because they really do rely on getting into the group stage of the Champions League for money. They've already just sold Christopher Ajer to Brentford, and I suspect now they're going to be under a lot of pressure to sell Edouard. They could probably get close to 20 million for him. Celtic fans are really not happy at the moment, and you can see if they do sell Edouard that their chances of finishing anything higher than second
Yeah, I think I heard Brighton's come in for that Edouard. He is a nice player. I watched him play last year. Steve, Aberdeen, who play in the Europa Conference League tonight, they play BK Häcken of Sweden. You think they'll be too good for Dundee United?
Yeah, I think they will. Had a decent start. I think they'll be too strong. I think they'll win that.
Yeah, and last but not least, Motherwell hosting Hibernian, who also play in the Europa Conference League tonight. How do you see that going?
Yeah, I think, they've had a really good season last season. I know they started off okay this season. I think that they'll get a result there. I think they've done. They're under a bit of pressure. They've got a good left back that clubs are after.
Okay.
If he's still there at the weekend, I suspect they might not win that.
Yeah, it's the only problem with those Scottish clubs, especially other than Rangers and Celtic. They're always forced to sell their players to keep the cash flow.
There's no money in. There's no TV money for them hardly.
Yeah.
And if they don't progress in Europe, which most of them don't, then they've got very little revenue coming in.
All right, Steve. Paul and I will go through the entire MLS league after we finish, but I'm going to ask you a few. I know you do follow it. Inter Miami against Montreal. Phil Neville. I still can't believe with his form he's still in the job. Inter Miami.
Oh, they're having a shocking run. I mean, they picked up a point last week after 5 straight defeats.
Yeah.
I mean, their last home league game, they lost 5-0. I'm not quite sure about the odds that you were showing for this because I can see Montreal going there and winning. I can't see how Inter Miami could be odds-on favourites to win, but they're rock bottom in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, especially when their opponents, Montreal, got a former Spurs anchorman in the middle. Wanyama in the middle.
Wanyama, yeah.
Yeah, I watched them play the other day. They won 2-1.
He was a fair player, won a few balls for us.
Surprised he went to America, but I agree. I think they played 7 home games. They haven't won. And how he's still got a job.
Is Beckham involved with
he's one of the owners.
One of the owners, that's right.
Yeah, they've got Blaise Matuidi, Higuain up front, but at the back they're like a sieve. But I agree, I couldn't take 8 to 10 into Miami. Now, LA Galaxy play Portland. Steve, how do you see that going?
Yeah, Portland are having a very disappointing season.
Yeah.
For a team that in the past in the Western Conference have done really well and have won the MLS Championship a couple of times. LA Galaxy are doing okay. But, a little bit inconsistent, but I think it should be too strong at home.
Yeah, the only thing is Chicharito, the game that I watched the other day, was injured. So that's the only thing. But as you say, at home, definitely. Now, Nani, who's the captain of Orlando City against an Orlando United team, I think who won it 2 seasons ago. How do you see that going?
Yeah, Orlando are playing well. They're having a decent run at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be a little bit too strong.
Yeah, at home. It's amazing how the home form in the States works out. Now, Houston against Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, well, Houston, they're one of these teams. They draw. They've drawn 5 of their last 6. They haven't won in 6. They've drawn 5 of them. Real Salt Lake, being inconsistent, but doing okay. I can see this one probably being a draw. You can't see a clear winner either way.
Yeah, and the big game in the MLS this week is the New York Red Bulls against New England. How do you see that?
Well, New England are having a great season. I mean, they're top of the Eastern standings. Red Bulls, I guess for them, are not having such a good season.
Yeah.
Obviously they're making it hard to beat, but I think if there was to be a winner there, it should be the New England Revolution.
Yeah, I saw a nice price, 18-10 on that. Steve,
Alrighty.
Pressure time again. I need your best bet and your best value bet, please.
I'm going to go for Hibs for my best bet. I think they're
Hibs,
off well. I think they'll have a good win. And my value bet, I've got to go to Montreal Impact.
Okay. Montreal against Inter Miami. Wanyama in the middle.
Wanyama in the middle. Stevie, excellent talking to you, pal. Thanks
Steve,
very much.
Look after yourself. Championship next week, Steve. Get studying.
Fullman.
We've got to start. We need to go on. All the bookies have got us as favourites to win the league, and we've got to show that we're capable of doing. We've got a decent squad. I think there'll be still 1 or 2 comings and goings, but we've got a squad as good as any in the championship. So we start off against Borough at home. Obviously, we'll probably cover that next week, but we've got to start. We've got to start well. Yeah,
Middlesbrough at home 9-10. Steve, can I pencil you in for your best bit of the week next week? Fulham at home.
Yeah, I never liked to bet on us. It's a tempting fate, but. We'll see. But no, I'm expecting us to. The thing is, over the last few seasons, when we've got into the playoffs and gone up, we've started slowly. Yeah. We do need to start a bit quicker.
You want automatic.
Yeah.
Steve, you got it wrong last week, but you picked the Box to beat the Lions. What are you doing this week?
He's fainted.
Very surprised. I'm going to go with the Box this week, but I'm going to go to the. But I think I'm going to go to the Lions to win the 3rd one.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
It was a surprise. In all honesty, at half time, there was no way you would think that the Lions were going to win that because they couldn't really get into the game.
Yeah.
But they just seem to. The Springboks seem to lose their shape, lose their energy. They've had a week together again, so it's going to be interesting. 3 changes for the Lions. I don't know if the Box have made many changes yet.
Yeah.
Stevie, all the best, pal. Thanks very much.
Yeah, speak to next week.
Just Steve, all the best. Be in contact.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Right, Buzz, just knock these on
the
the
head.
Yeah,
we'll go through MLS, the complete list. Fortunately, there are a few games that are on this week, so you can watch them. I tape them at 2 in the morning and watch them. There was a game finished at 7 o'clock this morning.
Sure.
Minnesota drew 2-2. Yeah, the first game, Paul, New York City, which is part of the Man City group, won their last 4 at home, 6-10 for me, absolute sitters. And so are Orlando.
Yeah,
they should beat
them.
Atlanta. They can't win one of the last 13 league games away from home. 8-10, Paul, looks worth a play. Now, the next bet, LA Galaxy, watched them last week, Paul. Without Chicharito, they've got a youngster up front. Otherwise, when I thought 12-10, I thought this is empty out stake.
Yeah.
Without Chicharito, I'd throw the draw in. Okay. Seattle will be miles too good for San Jose.
It's a long way to San Jose.
I like New England, Paul. They've won their last.
You like New England to beat the Red Bulls?
Yeah, I don't like the Red Bulls, Paul. Having watched them, are a panel beating team. Bruce Arenas, he's got New England buzzing.
He was the national coach.
He's a national coach. Correct job. On to our next page. We've got Cincinnati Stomps team, Paul, struggling. Only won 1 of the last 6 at home. They haven't won their last 4 at home against the DC United team, another struggler. Just also can't win away from home.
Draw.
So 23-10 the draw, Paul. Into Miami, I can't have. I think I saw 9-10 Montreal win and draw. Until a team wins, Paul, I can't be with them. They're terrible. And Houston, Paul, I fancy them. I know they haven't had the great. They've drawn 5 or 6, but at
Yeah.
home they don't get beat. Real Salt Lake are terrible. Even money Houston all day. Sporting Kansas City, I think, is a better the weekend. You know, Dallas have lost the
Good
last
things.
7 away. Paul, it was 15-10. Sporting to win by more than 1 goal. So they're in our bets. But 6-10, Paul, looks a gift to me.
Stone Cold.
Steve Austin, yeah, Paul, at home, very difficult to beat, but they had not in the best of form, but the draw's a player for me there, Paul, 23-10. Vancouver, Minnesota. Now, watch Minnesota this morning, Paul. That's Adrian Heath's team, the little guy from Everton.
Yeah,
Only
remember
lost
Adrian
one of the
Heath.
last 11. 9-10, Paul. Away from home, they've only won 1 of 5. I don't see them losing.
So who you like?
It's the win in the draw, Minnesota, Paul.
Okay.
Philadelphia, certainties. Won the last 4 away at home. Chicago can't buy a win, Paul. They've lost the last 5 away from home. 6-10 Monday morning, empty out. Now, the last game has got goals written all over it, Paul. I watched Nashville. They've got a couple of these young South Americans up front. Geez, can they play?
Yeah.
Unbeaten in 7. That could have been the upset, Paul. But Toronto having a good run, but win and draw for me, Nashville.
All right, but let's see what your Soccer 6
we're
official
on to the
pools and all
exotics
that.
for the weekend. Yeah, kick-off in Scotland. I'm going St Mirren to avoid defeat at Dundee. I'm bankering St Johnson to be too good for Ross County. Into Belgium, I'm going Sporting Charleroi, win and draw at home against St Truden. Likewise, FC Zurich, win and draw at home against Lausanne Sport. I don't see Cercle Bruges losing at home against OE Leuven and ending up with KV Michelin to avoid defeat against newly promoted RFC Serang, 192.
All right.
Our second Soccer 6, I'm going Sporting. It's the Portuguese Super Cup. Portuguese Sporting Lisbon, win and draw at home against Sporting Braga. I don't see New England Revolution losing to the New York Red Bulls. And the Sao Paulo Derby.
Excuse me.
Palmeiras. I don't see them losing to Sao Paulo. I'm chancing Cincinnati to avoid defeat at home against DC United. International, who cost us last week. I don't see them losing at home against Cuiabá. And I'm going for Houston Dynamo to beat Real Salt Lake 192.
Okay, Budge.
Yeah, on to our Soccer 10. I'm bankering Bournemouth in the League Cup against MK Dons. That's on Saturday.
League Cup, eh?
League Cup, yeah,
Okay.
the EFL Cup. I'm going St Mirren to avoid defeat against Dundee. I'm bankering St Johnson to be too good for Ross County. Sporting Charleroi, win and draw at home against St Truden. Likewise, FC Zurich to avoid defeat at home against Lausanne Sport. Second page. I'm going Cercle Bruges to avoid defeat against OH Leuven. I'm signing with Michelin, win and draw at RFC Serang. On to Moscow, where we're going Lokomotiv Moscow, win and draw at CSK Moscow. I'm going Hapoel Haifa, win and draw at home against Hapoel Hadera. And chancing Sporting CP, Sporting Lisbon to beat Sporting Braga, 256.
256. Right, Budge, the best page.
On to the bets, Paul. Yeah, the Licorice All Sorts League. It is difficult, but we've got to have a go. Paul, I'm going with Aberdeen to beat Dundee United. I think St Johnson will beat Ross County. And I expect Celtic to beat Hearts, but they can't keep a clean sheet. So I'm going Celtic to concede 2,100 to 200. On to the MLS, I'm going Sporting Kansas City to beat Dallas by more than 1 goal. I think Houston will beat Real Salt Lake. I'm going with goals. LA Galaxy Portland and Toronto Nashville, both over 2.5 goals, 2,300 to 200.
Next.
On to the Swedish quad, I'm going ARK Stockholm to beat Halmstad and over 1.5 goals. Sirius, which is my best bet of the weekend, to be do good for bottom of the league Örebro, and also going with over 2.5 goals. Degerfors Varberg Boa and IFK Gothenburg Norrköping, 2,500 to 200. On to Brazil, the Serie A, where I'm going Atletico Mineiro to beat Atletico Paranaense. I'm going RB Bragantino to be too good for Grêmio, and both teams to score in the Sao Paulo Palmeiras and Chapecoense Santos sides, 2,300 to 200.
Right.
Our team goals only, I'm going Celtic, which is Glasgow
All
Celtic,
these teams have... Oh, okay.
Nashville and Philadelphia,
1.5.
all to score over 1.5 goals. And Rangers, I think they'll murder Livingston. Paul, it's on ESPN. It's a lunchtime kickoff for 2:30 our side. Over 2.5 goals. 2,400
The
to
Collis
200.
King?
And our Collis King 6 or next. I'm going Bournemouth to beat MK Dons. Rangers to beat Livingston. Sporting KC to beat Dallas. Philadelphia to beat Chicago. Sirius to beat Örebro. And RB Bragantino to beat Grêmio. 3,600 to 200.
Well played, Budge. Well played. And don't forget, we're getting closer to the Premier League, which starts in a few weeks' time. And last one standing, it's going to be a really big one. We're really getting stuck in a programming a lot of prizes for that. So keep that in mind. Anything else, Budge?
No, Paul, just stay safe and stay on side.
Until next time, stay on side.